So here we have implementation of the genuine JDM Yaris push to start button on a USDM Yaris. In this case we are testing it out on Crashy. The push to start switch is a true Toyota one obtained through the Yahoo Japan auctions by Steve, who sent it to me for testing and for figuring out how to implement it on our cars. So the way that this is going to work, if we look at the wiring here to start with, the switch is wired into the module where I have a microcontroller that's looking at the switch and turning on the lights on the genuine JDM switch, as well as closing some relays to activate the starter and to be able to do the ignition cut when we press the button to shut the car off. If we look at our connector here on the ignition switch, we have only actually intercepted 2 lines on the ignition switch. You'll notice that the 2 black wires that go into a single pin are snipped at the connector and are connected to a wire that's heading into our module. This will prevent the ignition switch on the car from being able to start the car. With this implementation, if I am to turn the switch all the way to the start position, nothing will happen. That is so that basically our push to start button truly has a function. So it is the only way, pushing it is the only way that the starter is actually going to get cranked. The second cut is the pink wire. The pink wire on the connector is the IG2 ignition wire. The one end of it is going to 2 red wires, one of which is going directly to the switch, the other of which is going into the module. The white wire coming out of the module goes to the other side of the pink. So here we're actually cutting and intercepting the pink wire. The purpose of this is so that when we want to kill the car via the push to start button, we can hold the button in for a couple seconds and the button will open up that line, killing the engine. The car can also be shut off by simply turning the key to the off position. So either will work for shutting off. For starting, it's going to be purely the switch. Okay, so now to demonstrate the push to start functionality. The first thing I'll do here is turn the key to the on position. Once I turn it to the on position, we see that the engine start stop is now lit up, as well as the yellow LED on the push to start switch is now lit up as well. If I turn the key beyond the on position to the start position, nothing happens. And again, that's because now the push to start switch is our only mechanism for actually cranking the starter. So now if I push the button, we see the green LED flash for a couple seconds while it was cranking, and then once it was done starting, the LED went to solid. Now if I touch the push to start button quickly, nothing happens. It doesn't shut the engine off. To shut it off, I'll hold the switch for 3 seconds, and we see that the engine shuts off and the LED switches back to the yellow state. So it's ready now again to start it again if we so desired.